You know you have a problem when companies are trying to undercut Walmart. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence out there that would suggest the economy is not as strong as we've been told. Yes, you're going to look at Nvidia stock and that is surging, it's going crazy. The never-ending gains make it seem as though everybody is doing fine, but when you actually look at it, things are much more difficult than it appears to be. And I'm going to show you some of those stats today. I'm actually going to give you some charts. I'm going to give you everything that you need to know so that you can make the best decisions for yourself. But of course, at the end of it, I have three things that I want to discuss. And then we're going to look at how this impacts you and your family. Look, even if your circumstances are okay, and they will be okay in the coming years, you have to understand the people around you, whether that is your neighbors, your coworkers, your family and friends, they are largely not going to be okay. And guess what? If they know that you're doing fine, whose door will they come knocking on when the time comes? Keep that in mind, and I'll show you those three things at the end. I want to start with this. Americans are down on the economy again, with inflation topping election concerns. Nothing new in that respect. But you can look at it in terms of the consumer sentiment. That is always a good one to see. That's a 6-month low right now. I'll show you the data that goes in with this. We're talking about McDonald's and so on, where the consumers, their spending habits have been directly reflected in the sales of McDonald's, Home Depot, Under Armour, Starbucks. All of them, all the CEOs, they're all going on the calls and saying, our business is struggling because the consumer. That is an absolute fact. Now, these companies, they would not be saying that unless they absolutely couldn't avoid it. Okay, they have to say this at this time, and it's like when I read this, I laughed. It's sad in a sense, but it's funny to read this. The new quiet luxury is burgers and fries. I mean, I would have never even dreamed of that. And now here we are, right now, here, 2024. At the same time, you go down the street and you see people, they're doing what seems to be like anything they want. That seems like, hey, if they want that new fancy car, they got that new fancy car, they got the new iPhone, they got everything they want. And yet the new quiet luxury is burgers and fries. I mean, it's humorous in a sense, but it's either you laugh or you cry, I guess. Over 60% of Americans are buying less fast food because it is just too expensive. Now, I want to make this very clear, and I know your comments, I do agree. I I ate McDonald's at an airport in 2011, maybe 2011, maybe 10. That was the last time I ate McDonald's. But some people like it. So anyway, the point is, I don't judge people if they want to eat that. That's fine if you want to eat it, by all means. There's just an issue though, that the prices of the products, whether it's McDonald's, whether it's Starbucks, whether it's, just general groceries, they have all gone up and up and up and up. And I've seen the examples from the comment section, which by the way is pretty much the reason what has kept me going all these years is the comment section. Fantastic people. Yeah, there's the trolls and there's the weirdos. But there's so many great people, and that's what it is. Anyway, and those people have shared the comments of the things that they are seeing. And it is shocking. It's shocking to me. Anyway, look, that's one example. Red Lobster is blaming its bankruptcy on top shareholder and its ex-CEO, saying an $11 million all-you-can-eat shrimp fiasco contributed to its demise. They let people eat themselves into bankruptcy. I mean, that is wild. That's wild. I mean, people just went in there and just said, I'm going to eat this place until it shuts down. And it did. I mean, that's crazy. McDonald's price increases, if you want, you could look through here. McDonald's, Taco Bell, and Chick-fil-A. Go through that just to see the prices over these last 10 years or 2019 up until now. And that has been like, you could use end of 2019, whatever, like just before, all the fiasco. And look at what has happened. Over these last few years, the prices have increased depending on what you're looking at. Look, like 100% doubling over this past period. And I've seen other ones from 2014, some other charts just recently, but I included this one here from 2019. And that, yeah, you could say, well, you know what? Shouldn't be eating that food anyway. No. That's not the point. This is a great metric. We use the metric of McDonald's and Taco Bell because it's consistent. It's the same food. And then you can measure that over time, right? You have the Big Mac index, you got all these different things that it allows us to be consistent. And that shows us that the prices have increased crazy. And of course, we could see the commodities have gone up along with copper. By the way, just did that video on copper. If you haven't seen that, look at what's going on. And then Florida's 125% surge in property insurance bills sows havoc. Look at that. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Commercial property premiums skyrocketing in Florida. They're saying, hey, we cannot afford the hurricanes and all the different problems that have come up. It's going to be a problem for a lot of people there because they're just, it's unacceptable for them. Each year you see a rise. Why pay more? They're saying. A lot of people are dealing with this. Yes, the prices of the homes might be cheaper. Some things might no state taxes. Oh, but this is the thing we can't afford to not get. And yet the price keeps going up every single year. Right? And so they give a couple examples in here. And I think that that's what's happening. It's hitting people in one direction or another. So it doesn't matter. If you don't get it from here, you're going to get it from there. If you don't get smacked on the left side of the head, you're going to get smacked on the right. Take your pick. Target starts a price war with Walmart by slashing the cost of 5,000 popular items. So they're doing this. Why? Because they know Walmart is dealing with some issues, and I'm sure they sat down at a meeting and said, this is our time to get more market share. Let's start cutting the prices on these things. We reduce our margins all the way down to the bottom, hoping that we start bringing customers into our stores versus Walmart. I don't know if that's going to be successful, but they're certainly giving it a shot. All right. And you tell me, have you decided to shop elsewhere over the last while because of price increases? Well, I know a lot of people that have. They've been making changes. So what's next? Let's discuss the three things right now. You see the inflation, you know the data, I keep updating you on that. But what are the three things that we need to watch very carefully? Let's look at it right here. This is about basically talking about Shopify CEO. It's a tech company. It's based in Canada, and obviously they have to deal with some major issues. The bump in capital gains tax rates proposed by the Liberal Party is in their recent budget will almost certainly make the problem worse instead of better. That's what he's saying here, okay? It will have an anti-innovation effect, saying, quote, Canada has heard rumors about innovation and is determined to leave no stone unturned in deterring it. Do you see what's happening? They're taxing people so bad. The CEO of the company, usually they're all political about it and say, we will make sure that, and they just give some political message. It just goes to the bottom of the news pile. Nobody covers it. But he's literally saying, you are deterring innovation in this country. And that's what's happened to Canada. There is no future because there's nothing left. There's nothing left. It's terrible. Okay. So we have to understand what our source of income is as individuals. What is our source of income? What currency is it based in? Who are my customers? And what is the future prospects? What are the future prospects? You need to start answering those questions. Be very honest with yourself when you answer them. 75 new factories opened in Cambodia this year. Now, some people will say this is diversification out of China. This is, and by the way, I don't know why, but Cambodia seems to have, they do a lot of luggage, which I don't know why. Why luggage of all things? But anyway, they opened 75 new factories, and you say that's diversification. However, in many cases, just like with Vietnam, just like with other countries, it's China that's actually, and Mexico, I should say, it's China that's opening these factories in these different countries, trying to get away from tariffs and trying to diversify their supply chain. You know why? It's because labor costs are too high in China. Yes, and there's also the tariff factor. So if somebody needs to get paid, let's just make up a number, $5 an hour in China, which is lower. But let's say it was $5 an hour, and we say, oh, Cambodia, I can get it for $2.50. So I just split my costs in half. Excellent. Let's open a factory in Cambodia instead. Do you see what's happening here? The outsourcing is going to the next level. Make sure your job cannot be outsourced. That's number 2. And then we have this, which is Amazon to open its first ever robotics fulfillment center in Calgary. This is in Canada. They're doing a lot of robots. Just understand that the robots factor, that your companies that you work for, regardless, they are going towards robots and automation, and they are trying to do away with human labor. Yes, in that case there, they are employing thousands of people. But at the same time, they're trying to bring in as many robots as they possibly can. They know what's happening. It's the same with Uber. Uber has made it very clear. We do not want drivers long term. We want our robotic cars and so on. We want a fleet of that. Who knows how long that will take. That's the next aspect. So you got to have your sources of income dialed in. It is going to be critical in the coming years. People don't underestimate this, please. Okay. If you want to know more, I teach people how to mitigate the disaster that this is in my Sunday Business Live sessions. Sunday Business Live is where I spend over 2 hours every single Sunday with people, helping them build a business online from the ground, able to diversify geographically by far more than anybody that you speak to. Once you get that dialed in the way that I teach it, you will be more diversified than everybody else you know. I assure you. If you appreciate this message, hit that thumbs up. If you want to know more about that, there's a link at the top of this description in the video. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.